Canadian wrench here again, doing an 86 S10 chassis. This is from an 86 S10 Blazer, and we're putting a V8 in it. We're gonna go over that. We'll look at how it used to look before I coated it and what I used to coat it. All right, stay tuned. So I've gone the once over here with the wire wheel and found everything's not so bad. There's a couple spots here I just highlighted with yellow. I'm going to take a grinder and just take those little bits off. And it's obviously sat out overnight, and I'm still going to adapt this yet. I have an idea for that. We'll get into that later. And then there's a couple on the other side as well. Here we go. We'll just clean up all those spots. Here's another good one. A couple of ones there. All right. All right, so we'll start looking at the front end here. I adapted the front end for a V8, so I drilled these 3 holes for the engine mount. This actually had this piece in there, which is where your fuel lines come out. I just made it a little bit longer, slotted it so I can get to the access to the hardware here and tighten it up. On the other side, there was no slot at all, so yeah, I just put a slot in there. And there's the 3 holes I got to get to. All right, so your steering box goes right in here. You can see the 3 holes where it lines up. I'm not 100% what the front end's what I'm gonna use up here. So I may end up chopping it right around here somewhere. We'll see. The suspension I still have to do. These original riveted, you can see the rivets holding these ball joints in. I'm gonna replace all the ball joints and suspension, tie rods, stuff like that. That'll all be new. This piece here, it was a little corroded on the inside. I ground it down to a nice surface, and I still might grind it back and put this washer in here. And then we have our mount, which actually fits that quite well. And of course we'll grind this back so it fits nicely. And then that goes on the other side, and it actually sits there quite nicely. Because I'm doing a body swap, I'll be making the floor pan, some of the floor pan anyway, and the body mounts for the car. So adapting it to this height shouldn't be a problem. Here's the next one along. And then there's the original S10 body mounts. I got new rubber or poly, I believe those are. They weren't all mint pieces, I can tell you that. Some of these are pretty rough. I had a couple sitting around, luckily, from an earlier project, and we'll get those on there. That's what it looks like. It's sort of an odd shaped thing, and that fits on there. Go through that hole. That's the surface that your body will be sitting on, so you'll line it up between those two, and then you got those two. There's your square of whatever you're putting on. If you're putting a cab of a pickup on, you're putting a body, whatever. And then you got 4 more back here and here. That's 2, and then 2 of course on the other side in the same spots. So other than that being a little bit higher than the frame, we'll have to work around that. But how much higher is it than the body mount? So it might not be that much of a difference. When it came to the finish of the frame, in the internal channels, I used this Eastwood Protectant. It's pretty good. Comes with a little hose that goes on the can, which I taped to a screwdriver just for better control. Did all the inside of the frame wherever I could. Next I used the degreaser and the 415 prep, metal prep, and then of course the 415. I got it in these small cans, easier to use. As everybody knows, there's it starts drying as soon as you open it, and you don't want to reseal the can. So I just bought the small cans, worked great. And then of course I put the top coat on for UV protectant because it'll never see sunlight. But anyway, it's well protected, lots of coats on there, and I'm impressed with the way it came out.